Are your thoughts and emotions just words? This is AP talking to a student about emotions, and let's see what this is all about. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for taking a listen.
So my question is, or rather reaction is, you have talked a lot about emotions being a bundle of chemicals. Now the context here is the what is the relationship between emotions and language or words, basically. So I have been observing myself for some time now, and I have seen that a lot of ideas and
I like this guy's energy.
concepts that I have, when I try to investigate on them, all I end up is with just more words, right? And basically, what I see is that these different groupings of words, which my mind tells, it is basically creating kind of emotional responses within me. So I want to understand from you whether the mind and my word is anything more than just words. Thank you.
No. Words come upon observation. That is one thing. And words are mind stuff. That is another thing. One thing is I observed and then I was trying to verbalize my observation. You know? And then the words got muddled up. That is one thing. And it's a different question to ask, ki, is mind stuff just words? What exactly?
You know, thought and words should be utilized as a tool. Your mind is a tool. Okay, it's not. A lot of us just think and then we over analyze, obsess, and tinker, and then we get in these mental matrices of just endless thought patterns on loop and repeat. It's crazy, right? It drives us mad. But that's not how the mind's supposed to operate. The mind is a tool. We use things to dissect, interpret, and then react and act. Done. That's how the mind's used. So it's a sharp knife. It's not this endless murky puddle. It's a tool. It's a weapon, and it's a weapon that can be constructive and beneficial, or it's a weapon that can be destructive and chaotic, depending on how we're using that weapon, aligning that weapon. So we can use thoughts for healthy intelligence, or we can use thoughts that make us weakened, and then also make us have mental patterns of disorder.
Exactly. Which of these two is the question?
Basically, like when I'm contemplate all the ideas that I have, the definitions of ideas, I feel that in essence they are just words.
They are. Okay, step by step. Yes, they are. Then?
Right? Since they are words, there is something in me which is giving more meaning to them than just seeing them as words. And this happens because when words pop up in my mind, I start to, some kind of emotion happens, right? Like if I'm anxious now, there is like an explanation why I'm anxious, right? So I started to.
So let's stop. That's just because the mind can receive stimuli not only from the externally looking senses, but also from its internal database memory. So somebody called me a hippo. I got angry when called a hippo. And then I again got angry when I remembered that he called me a hippo. First time the word hippo came to me from? Outside. Second time the word hippo came to me from?
Inside.
My mind, inside.
From inside, from the memory. And where did the meaning of the word hippo come from?
Outside.
Again from experiences, which is all stored within. So,
right.
So the word has a certain meaning. What does the word meaning mean? Interest. It has a stake. Meaning means stake.
Okay.
In spiritual parlance.
Very, very cool here. Very cool. Words have meaning, and those meanings stick. So we have an emotional, visceral reaction, a gut reaction. It's cool to break these things down like this. This is incredible.
In linguistics, meaning simply means translation.
Okay.
If I ask the meaning of a word, you will simply translate it into other words that you already know of. That's called a meaning. In spiritual terms, meaning implies interest. Meaning implies stake. So when, for example, when you say, let's live a meaningful life, that means let's live a life that fulfills your deepest interest. Are you getting it? So that's what the word as a stimulus does. It tells the ego whether it is gaining or losing. So the word comes to me and the word is hippo. And the word has told the ego, oh, you are losing something. And the ego is already afraid of losses. It's already sitting shivering. And on top of that, it has been told that it's a hippo. And being a hippo means loss of social acceptance and respectability. Because I am a hippo, so nobody respects me. So the ego feels even more shriveled. That's what the word does. All words have existential connotations to the ego. That existential connotation is the meaning.
I love how he prefaces to the ego. Listen, if you're coming from a healthier state of consciousness, not the ego, and you're called a hippo, you don't let it stick. Does that make sense? That's why we strive towards elevated states of consciousness, because they're healthier. Like the ego's is all that low, murky, fearful, anxious, trepidatious, scared, fearful energy. Whereas we're unburdened by that as we're in higher states of consciousness. We don't know that reality. We know it exists. We've all been through these different levels all the time, right? We're always oscillating to different realms within ourselves. But it's really cool that he says that it's triggered by the ego. And when you can resonate with the idea of having autonomy from the opinions of others, listen, we all want to be liked, right? But we also understand that most people are fundamentally, unfortunately, are a mess. They're not doing the inner work required. And even if you are doing the inner work, it can really be a tough process. So just to identify with anybody's opinion about you is really typically a perception from their own self. A lot of times people build opinions about us and they don't even know us. They have no idea who we are. They see a gender, they see an age, they see how good looking or unattractive they are. They see whatever they want to see. 1,000 people can watch this video and they're going to see 1,000 different things. Half of those people are going to be like, wow, this guy's really interesting. The other half is going, I don't like this guy. I'm the same guy. So I know fundamentally that that's how attraction works. I can't take it personally or allow it to stick or take an interest in the meaning from someone who leaves a negative reaction on my video. Like that negative reaction is because of themselves. It has nothing that I did. Whereas someone with a healthy reaction goes, wow, thank you for sharing AP's messages and broadening it to the Western world. You're amazing. Like that's their own perception. They see value in what I offer. The other person is coming from a lower state. And so he's only seeing what he's been trained through his ego to see. It has nothing to do with you. If you give a talk, let's say this is a talk, and there's 10,000 people that watch this, I'm going to have 10,000 different reputations. Some people are going to talk greatly of me. Some people are going to share this video with a friend. Some people are going to leave a negative comment because it's about them, not me. So I love to explore these things because we all can be above the ego. It's actually a thing, but it takes mental training, mental labor. And that's what we're all about on this channel is we're going to do the work required to be above our mind so that we do have peace. We do have playfulness. We do have a carefree nature, and we have the freedom to express ourselves without fear. That's the number one gift you could ever give anybody, is a freedom to express themselves without fear, because so many of us are afraid to share ourselves. Because there's many people who shame us for being an original score, an original tune, an original piece of music. You should be like this because you look like that. You should be this because you're a man. You should be this. No, 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 no. I shouldn't be anything except what's authentic to me. And that's what I want you to honor to yourself inside as well.
If that connotation is removed, words will do nothing. All words carry something that impinges on your very existence. If you can clear the word of that, then words will remain just words, and no words will have the power to shake you up or disturb you.
So basically, the way I'm using my language is affecting my ego also, right?
All words exist for the ego. And the ego is so damn desperate that nothing can exist for it without having a meaning for it. In your entire universe, nothing can exist just for its own sake. We are so hungry that everything exists for our sake. Is there anything in your house that is meaningless? Please tell me. Is there anything in your house that doesn't serve any function? That's what is called meaninglessness. Is there anything in your house that does not serve your self-interest? Your house is your Brahmand, your universe. Huh? Everything inside it must have a meaning for you, otherwise you'll throw it away. Similarly, your entire vocabulary has things, which is words, that have meaning for you. And if a word does not have any meaning for you, you'll forget it.
That's true. This is really cool to look at, because if we just see words as these things that we attach meaning to or interest to, or that they stick to us. So then you have to really go back into yourself now and go, okay, well, if all these words are my own interest that are sticking to me, that are giving them meaning and purpose, and I'm fueling them and making them alive within me, now we have to think about the narratives that we're telling ourselves, the stories that we're telling ourselves. Are you telling yourself a sob story, a victim story? Because remember, that may not be serving you for the healthier version of you, but it's serving something. Serving the ego, it's hungry. Listen, the ego loves the victim mentality. It loves to feel sorry for yourself, to make excuses of your behavior and why you don't try, why don't you show up for your life, why don't you show up for your family or community, why you walk around like a zombie. Listen, the ego does not like you. It does not want you to win. It doesn't. It doesn't. This is about forging out of the ego to new self-identification, to know that these stories and narratives are part of your own programming. You have to take responsibility and accountability for the programming that you've decided to stick to, that you decided to let stick to you. Listen, trauma is hard, and I'm no expert. I'm no psychologist. I'm nothing. But I do know that the more we focus on the trauma, the problems, we build narratives, they become part of identity, we self-identify, then we filter our whole life through, this is what I am. And therefore, this is what I am, this is what I do. We act based upon that information because it gets buried in the subconscious mind. So we have to have a conscious awareness to not, when the narrative comes up, no, reverse the narrative. Reverse the narrative. I can never get in shape. I've tried a million times. If that's your narrative, change it. I will never be out of shape again. I will never be out of shape again. I will never be out of shape again. Now, your physical body might remind you, your environment might remind you, you're just make-believe. That's not true. Well, it depends on who you want to be and who you focus on. That's it. What story do you want to tell yourself? I'm the guy who overcame my weight. I'm the guy who had self-discipline and not eating everything that I see. What story do you want to grow inside you? Because you're self-fulfilling that prophecy. And we have such epic potential in us that I've done it too, and I do it a lot. where I play the victim. I play the sob narrative over and over and over again. The ego loves it. It feels good. It makes us feel comfortable of why we're not trying, why we're not showing up for our life. But it's not serving your healthiest possibility. So I say cut it off, pay it no mind, and just flip-flop the narrative. I'm a guy who I'm a hardworking guy. I do what I must, not what I feel. Oh, I'm feeling bad. I don't feel like going to the gym today. There's no bone in my body. Well, guess what? There's no bone in my body ever to want to go to the gym. I've been doing it for way too long. But guess what? I still do it. Just like we have to show up to work every day. If you have your own business and you're not showing up to work every day, you're not honoring that greatest version of you. And I think that if you want to change the world, it starts with yourself. It starts with trying to evolve into this grandest version of possibility. And we attract what we focus on, what we truly believe that we are. Listen, I didn't come from a great environment. I came from a really small town with not a lot of opportunity, but I made something of myself. And just because I did one time doesn't mean that lasts forever. You have to continuously reinvent and work towards yourself, the ideal version of you. If you're not working towards an ideal, you are degenerating. You are seeping down into the gutter. The ego will victimize you. It will make you stop caring about your life. This is why it's so important, because if you can go through that journey, that inner realm where you forge yourself in the fire of existence, where you go into the gutter of despair and you actually look into it and you realize that darkness doesn't exist. It's an illusion. That it's the light that exists. The darkness is an illusion. And you come back with an armor forged of gold. Carl Jung calls this the golden shadow, where sometimes life does throw us into the abyss. But when you've been down there before, listen, you can get lost, and you can get lost for a week, a year, a decade, of course. But if you do the work, you come back victorious. And when life tries to throw you back down into the abyss, you're almost impenetrable. It doesn't affect you the same way. You fucking have been through the darkness. You've been down there. You know that it's not real. It was yourself that identified with it, got stuck down there, and you pulled yourself out of that never-ending gutter. And when you do it one time, you know you can do it again. You know it's not going to be as dark as it was. But you rise to the occasion, because that's what we do as men, is we rise above our emotions. We rise above our circumstances. That's what spirituality is all about. It gives us a weapon, a toolkit, a tool belt to be able to go through the slings and arrows of life, and the slings and arrow of that ego in our mind that wants to self-deprecate. And we decide, I don't self-deprecate. I speak highly of myself because I am a high self-worth individual. I am a high self-worth individual. We all are. But most of us are playing it safe, playing it small, and have a self-identification that makes us feel weak, average at best. So we never, ever truly show up for life 1,000%. 1,000%. Every single day is what's required. I love you guys. Thank you so much for checking me out. If you're interested in booking a coaching call with me and you're just needing some retooling, some different strategies, I would be honored to help you out. Links in the video description. Please like, please comment. Helps push this video out to other people. And if you haven't subscribed already, welcome to the community. Really appreciate you guys being here. I'll catch you on the next AP video. Bye-bye for now.